Spooky greetings, everybody. It's October 30th, 2025, Halloween Eve. And this is the Backdrop Weekly Dev Meeting. We get together every week to talk about development priorities for Backdrop CMS. My name is Nate Lampton. I'm a core committer and technical lead for the Backdrop project. I'm known as Quick Sketch within the Backdrop community. And I'm calling in from Oakland, California. We've got a handful of folks joining today. These are open meetings. You can join anytime, every week. The link goes out on our chat system, Zulip, but you also can find the information on backdropcms.org to join these meetings every single Thursday. So we'll do some introductions. We'll start off with Izzy, and then we'll go to Ben.
Hi, I'm Izzy. I'm a freelance site builder and developer in Vancouver, British Columbia, west coast of Canada. Nice to be here.
Thanks, Izzy. Ben, and then Justin Kaiser.
Hey, my name is Ben. I work for Giant Rabbit, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina.
Thanks, Ben. Justin Kaiser, and then Justin Christofferson.
Hey, Justin Kaiser. Work for a nonprofit in Muncie, Indiana. And I like working on Backdrop, mostly Contrib. And I'm going to be working on a module while I'm listening in here. So
Great. All right. And Justin Christofferson. Sorry.
Justin Christopherson. I'm in Denver, Colorado, and I volunteer mostly with infrastructure.
Okay, great. Thank you, everybody. We do have some Contrib updates for today, but we're going to postpone that pending there may be some maintainers joining us. So we'll just jump right into general discussion for this week. So we have a number of issues that were suggested for discussion. We'll want to immediately drop in here. So 4 of these issues Izzy has been working on, but Norm Plum, a contributor that has been around in the past, I guess got a bee in his bonnet and filed a whole bunch of issues to improve the display of SVGs throughout Backdrop. So we'll go through each one of these issues as they are coming along. This issue, remove the help icon PNG. So the funny thing is about this, sorry, this is the pull request. Here's the, oh, gosh darn it. So this is the meta that is like we use PNGs in a whole bunch of places, and we'd like to use SVGs all over. But Norm points out that there isn't a need to use an SVG. He says we don't have an exact one with a gray background. And so he recommends using CSS instead. And if we look at the pull request, what he's done here is used a content CSS attribute to just put a question mark and then surround it in a circle. I think that this is fine. I can't see any reason why this would be less accessible than using a background image, which is what it had been before. And so I don't see anything wrong with this at all. We do have the entire Phosphor icon collection inside of Backdrop, which includes both the regular and fill versions, I do believe. So there actually is a question mark in core that could be used, but it might not have the exact same appearance. I don't see anything wrong with using the SVG approach myself.
Okay, well that sounds good.
Or sorry, the text approach. But the real irony here is that nowhere this icon doesn't appear anywhere in core anymore. It used to, but we removed the one place that uses it, and it looks like Style Guide module is actually the only place that still uses this this CSS image for the the help icon.
So that means that Backdrop has the PNG icon in core, but never uses it.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and we actually have a number of things that are like that at this point because it's possible that contrib, like the style guide module, could be pointing at the PNGs that are in the MISC directory, even though core itself doesn't use them anymore. And so we probably have that situation for 20 some PNGs that are in core that are no longer actually used anywhere, not even in core CSS, but the files still linger around.
Right.
And that'll be a Backdrop 2.0 thing to go through and clean out all of those images that are no longer being used.
Okay, well, that's good on this issue. I'm comfortable with it as well.
Great. Let's see, message icons with SVGs. So this is issue 6994. It looks like HerbDuel's already reviewed and tested this one, which, I trust Herb quite a lot, so I think that I probably don't need to do feedback on this one. Yeah, oh, this is interesting. He actually added new SVGs. Oh, this is funny. This is like Basis wanted to use SVGs. It was like someday use SVGs when browsers can render them, but that someday is now. So that's great. It's been a long time since Basis was created. I think that this is probably fine. The question I have here is, could we use the SVGs from the icon system instead of adding new SVGs into MISC? And I think I just want to get that question answered. Because if it is possible, I think I would have a slight preference for doing that um, instead of putting new icons inside of the MISC directory. Oh wait, hang on. Where are the SVGs? Are they already in core? Because this pull request doesn't actually add the files. Now I'm
Yeah, I thought it was just using what already was there, but
oh, sure enough. Huh, that's funny. These have existed for at least 7 years. Wow. History. Oh, wow. These have existed since 2015 in core. Okay, well that kind of answers that question. So we don't actually need to add any new files at all. They're already there. It's just that we couldn't use SVGs in 2015. And so we added them with the intention to enable them later because we couldn't enable them at the time, and now we can. So that's crazy. Uh yeah. Okay, I think we should I'm gonna leave a note here. Or Izzy, if you could hop in here and say that these images already exist in core, I would appreciate that. And
yeah,
just say that this looks fine.
I'll take another look at that.
Wow, that's really something. Okay, this one I would like some feedback on. Another very old issue, add custom and contrib directories to the doc-root modules directory. So uh, the general concept here is that conventionally A lot of developers will split up their modules directory into two subdirectories, contrib and custom. Because a lot of Drupal sites, sorry, a lot of Backdrop sites have custom code installed on them, in addition to the stuff that comes from the contrib repository. And it's useful to separate, these are the things that are managed on backdropcms.org, and these are the things that I wrote and need to manage myself. I think that this is extra pertinent to Backdrop because of the module installer or project installer, that it downloads and installs modules into the modules directory. I haven't. Yeah, okay. I couldn't remember this, but yes, it does look like if there is a contrib directory, we already use it in the module installer. So this has existed since 2016, it looks like, or 2018. And so there's no changes needed in the installer module to actually support the contrib directory. It's just a convention of whether or not we want to add one by default in core. I don't think there's a pull request or anything for this. Izzy, do you have any additional commentary on this issue since you requested the discussion?
Well, I just think it would be nice to sort of lead people down that path. That's what people who are working with Drupal and Backdrop on a longer basis tend to do anyway. But as you say, you can move them. Like if you decide, you could rename, you could move all, split them up and move them into separate directories, contrib and custom, and then flush your caches and everything works anyway. But yeah, I'd like to see this added in, but I don't know what other people think.
I'm just looking at the README here that's inside of the modules directory, and I do appreciate that our README does specifically say it kind of recommends that contrib and custom are common conventional names inside of here. If we were to add the the contrib directory in here, then we'd probably, per Git's kind of requirements, we'd throw a directory in there, and then we'd also put a README inside, just saying why we have this directory and what it's used for. The concept of including a custom directory could also be in here, but that's a little bit strange, potentially because not all sites actually have custom modules. I think many, maybe even most of them do, but that's not a guaranteed. But there's also no harm in having an empty directory with a README in it.
Well, there might be though. Let's say that you don't want to use the contrib directory, then if you don't remove it manually, right, then the installer will start installing modules into there. And then also if you try to upgrade, it's going to add that folder back in, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting question just generally. So the upgrade instructions for Backdrop and the self-updater inside of Backdrop only updates the core directory and not the
Okay.
other files. And so if you follow the instructions for updating core, you don't replace everything, you just replace the core directory. And that's what the self-updater does as well.
For us, it would though, because I think we use like the Git repo. We use core and contrib, so it wouldn't, or I mean contrib and custom directories, so it wouldn't
So it
matter,
wouldn't really
but
affect you anyway.
it
Yeah.
wouldn't affect us. I'm just thinking aloud here about reasons not to do it.
Yeah. I could also see, so if someone were doing something like that, where this is also a common thing where some people, when upgrading, they're dependent upon their operating systems, like ability to merge directories, and they just drop their new directory on top of the old one. We have instructions that say specifically don't do that, because it can leave behind files that have been deleted,
Yeah, right.
or moved. But people do it sometimes. It could happen. What you'd end up with is you'd end up with all of your contrib modules that had been installed previously inside of the root modules directory. But then you'd end up with an extra contrib directory. And then moving forward, any modules you installed via B or the module installer would now end up inside of the contrib directory. So you'd end up with a mix of like some things in contrib that were like when the directory existed moving forward, and then all of the other modules that were before the directory existed were installed outside of the contrib directory. So that could be, I mean, it's not going to break anything, but it's a little messy. I think it's note that interesting that this README specifically says you can move modules if you clear your cache.
Does that
Which
work?
I
It
I
doesn't,
do
it
I
doesn't
do
have to
believe it.
update the system, isn't
I
it?
do
Wasn't the
believe it
path stored in
does.
the system table?
Yeah, it updates the system table.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, visiting the modules page will do it too, that it will rescan um, all of the install locations, and if a module has been moved, it will just update it.
Yeah, so it is easy to do. I'm sure we've done that a number of times where we've just created them, moved things around, and everything works fine after that. So the fact it can be done easily, and like you point out, just suddenly introducing this could cause problems in terms of existing systems. Is a cautionary tale that maybe we don't actually change it, but just emphasize how easy it is to do if you want.
Well, I think it's already emphasized in the README module. Where else would we, or I mean, in the README file?
Yep.
So where else would we emphasize it?
I guess just to remind people it's there.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. We could put it into the installer module potentially when if people are using installer to let them know where it will go, but um so it's interesting, like there's a lot of commentary in here saying the same thing, like contrib already is well supported. Here we go. AV Paderno suggests he wants to leave this to the people who are installing. So this is the first counter point that I've seen. Because other people so far seems to be in favor. Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on this because like others, I'm kind of okay just creating the contrib directory and custom directory, and I do it on every project. But I don't know, our objective here is to, make it so that the things you do on every project, they're just done for you. That's like one of the core principles of Backdrop is don't make people do the same thing on every single website that they set up. And this does kind of fit into that category. But it could be at odds with backwards compatibility. And so backwards compatibility trumps kind of everything else. And
So when you were saying to add it to you said add it to the installer module. Is that what you said?
yeah, like in the user interface, like
Because I was
let
kind of
people.
wondering if we don't do it for older sites, but we do it for newer sites. If it's like installing a fresh install, it just adds those directories.
Can you elaborate?
Well, like when you go through the install, like when you install core for the first time,
Uh-huh.
right? Could it go in and just create those
Oh,
directories for you?
that's interesting. And not put it in. That's a good idea. And we could even, if we really wanted to leave the door open, we could make that be part of the standard install profile and not something that happens on every install. So we don't ask people which install profile we want in Backdrop or they want in Backdrop unless there's another profile available, which could be some kind of distribution or Commerce Kickstart or something like that. And that would make it so that the install profile would be responsible for doing that, and we could put it in the standard install profile potentially, making it so that only if you're running the standard one, which almost everybody does, I think we have telemetry data on that, then they would end up with the contrib directory. I like that idea. Then it wouldn't be in the code itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think putting that forth is a great solution to really basically taking the backwards compatibility question totally out of the equation because it would only happen on new sites. But yeah, I just don't have a strong opinion on this. So I think I'm gonna encourage people to voice their opinions on this, and if we can reach some kind of consensus, and Ben, your suggestion is a great compromise, then we can move forward with it.
Yeah, I appreciate hearing the discussion.
Okay.
And the ideas. Yeah, that's enough on that, I guess.
Okay, great. Okay. Let's see. Another issue requested that we talk about. The logo and favicon, when uploaded, must go into the public folder even when the default download method is private. Izzy, you opened this back last year.
Well,
It looks like Norm Plum made a pull request just day before yesterday.
Yeah, and it's a nice, elegant, simple solution to it. This is an issue that goes back to Drupal 7 days when if you loaded up a site a logo or favicon and you had a default private file directory, that you'd run into problems because the logo and the favicon have to be in a public directory. So it's nice to see a solution for that.
Yeah, that's great. I think, yeah, I'm not quite sure where. This is interesting that it previously didn't say where it was copying to. It just like copy the file, and then I guess there must have been a default destination. Let's see, the URL may be a bear. If this value is omitted, it defaults to the default scheme, which is usually public. Okay, yeah, so that's exactly what it just letting that not fall back to the default scheme of it might be public, it might be private, and just saying it's always public. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, one-liners. That's great. And this is our TBC. Thank you, Izzy.
Okay. Well, thank you, Norm.
Indeed. Okay, and let's see. Then we also have Ben here today to talk about this issue. An oldie backwards compatibility issue for late 777 that there was an entity language method that was added, and we don't have it in Backdrop yet. And so, Ben, do you have anything that you want to say about this issue?
I do. I have a couple of things to say. One of them, hold on, let me pull up the commit that I made because I think there's parts in here that you're not going to like. Because when I was writing them, I was thinking Nate's not going to like this. So I might as well talk about it now. Hold on a second.
While we're waiting, welcome, Tim.
Hey.
Tim, do you want to say, I know that we're totally just like having a little sidebar here while we're getting set up, but do you want to say some things about Backdrop Live, which is happening next week? I think.
In theory, I have been a bit overwhelmed. We haven't been doing as much as we should. Oh, there's Martin. Were you here a minute ago? Martin, do you have an update? Our registrations are pretty low. I can send an email out today to the mailing list, which I haven't done. That'll generate a few more. Anyways, we're definitely behind where we would like to be, but we do have a bunch of we have about 8 or 10 topics already. And we can get more. I think Martin and I talked about maybe cutting, like dropping the final block, having one shorter block.
Mm.
Well, and probably Justin, I see you have a session in it, maybe dropping block C, which would be the late evening one. So anyways, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Okay. But we're definitely looking for sessions and speakers. So visit events.backdropcms.org to get registered and to submit sessions.
And a reminder that sessions at Backdrop Live, you just need a topic that you want to talk about. It doesn't have to be a presentation. So, and so you don't need a big session proposal. Just tell us what is, somebody brought up commerce. They wanted to talk about commerce and Backdrop. You don't have to do a lot more than that, is say, let's talk about commerce and Backdrop, put it on the schedule, and maybe ideally list a few questions, things that you hope to get answered during the session. And then it's a discussion about that, and hopefully other people can jump in and show what they've been doing, and that's it.
Yep. The thing that makes Backdrop Live what it is are the people that are there. Like having the minds together can really just make for really excellent discussion and outcomes. So I totally agree. Schedule and presentations are not the focus of the event.
Yeah, let's give a quick example at the last session, which turned out to be one of the more productive sessions we've ever had, Nate, was our AI coding one, where we really just all showed up and like said, what are we going to talk about? And Nate was like, well, I've never tried Cursor before. Let's give it a try. And we just sort of live on the spot started playing. Nate did a live demo. I think you created a module or something with using Cursor, and we all shared our feedback and experience. And like I went away from that session using Cursor and creating a couple of modules. So like it had a real direct, immediate impact, and nobody did any preparation for that session. It was just us all getting together.
And the previous one, you did one on Xdebug, and I was like, oh, that's how you use it.
Highly recommend. Yeah. Oh, that's a good topic for every Backdrop Live, in my opinion. Everybody should know how to debug. I know it's not easy without DDEV, but if you do have it, it's not bad.
Okay, well, let's do that one again then.
Okay,
I missed it. Go ahead.
All right, let's see. Yeah, I know, all of a sudden we got excited about Backdrop Live, but we were waiting. Ben, did you get the
I did. Should I
the
share
link
my
set up?
screen?
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
stop.
Let's see. Okay. All right, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay, so right here is the function I've implemented called line code. This version we have running on a site right now. the problem I was running into, well, I had two kind of questions or problems. I'm not really sure where the line code property like gets set for the first time when you're loading the node or whatever.
Mm.
So I was kind of poking around at that. But then the other issue I ran into was there's a bunch of spots that I had to do something a little weird, where the path module is like checking to see if line code is null or not. So you can see like this chunk right here. Maybe it's better to see this in context. So it used to look like, the line used to look like this, where it just checks to see if line code is set or not, and then it sets it to language none if not. The thing that's strange about that, right, is that if you call line code, it's going to set it to null by default. And I guess I'm just not sure what the difference between, like, why do we set it to null rather than language none? And like what impact that has on the other stuff that's running. It ended up leading to some kind of like funky code that I don't like, where this one liner turns into like 3 lines. It seems like it'd be cleaner if we could just call line code and it would be set to what things expect. But there's other places in the code base where it checks to see if line code is language default. Oops.
So that is
do you
really
know about that? I mean, do you know anything about that?
I do know some things about it, but I don't know everything about it. I do know that line code can get really messy because there's the difference between line code none and then line code undefined, line code und. The constant is known as, and that does get messy because when the value is null, we don't really know if it's none or undefined. And so none means that there's this entity, there's no need to translate it, that it exists the same for all languages, and that's what none means. And undefined means I don't know what language this is. Like, I don't have multilingual even installed, and it could be English or it could be Spanish, but for now, because there's no languages set up on the site, it just isn't assigned anything. So there's a difference between what none and undefined and null mean. But in practice, I imagine that it's a big mess and that we're using all three of them kind of interchangeably.
Yeah, I mean, you can see right here, right? It checks to see if it's null. If it's null, then it sets it to language none.
Uh-huh.
There's a bunch of spots like that.
Yeah. I don't actually have a problem with this. You're doing the exact same thing as before, and due to the nature of maintaining compatibility, I think that this is the safest approach. And
Yeah,
so
okay.
I don't see any problem with it. I think you probably could still keep that as a one-liner even. I think it's possible to one-line it.
It's definitely possible. I just thought it was harder to read because it starts getting long, but
Yeah, totally. Yep. I think you don't see it a whole lot yet, but I'm pretty sure that you can do the
oh,
instead
the
of the
spaceship, or not the spaceship, the double
double
question mark.
question mark. Yep. Because we previously hadn't done that until PHP 7 support, I think it is, and now we require that, so you can use the double question mark now to get a shorter outcome.
Okay, maybe I'll do that.
And not have to do the colon thing.
Yeah. The only other question I had on this is, this thing's called language callback, but we're really returning the language code, not the language callback. But if we change this, then that breaks backwards compatibility with Drupal 7 modules, but it's already broken because this function doesn't exist. So
Mhm.
I'm wondering if we should change that to line code callback.
Oh, because we added label callback, but we don't have language callback yet at all. Is
That's
that
right.
right?
Yeah.
That's what this is adding. As much as I hate to say it, I agree that it should be lang code callback, because that lang code to language to lang code is
Yeah.
the biggest backwards compatibility break that we had from Drupal 7, and unfortunately,
Right.
we're stuck with it. So I
Okay.
agree.
All right. I'll change that. I think that's it for this one until I get the tests working and everything.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, the only other question I had on this is it will be like breaking unless we use a magic method to check if line code is set or not. Because there's a bunch of, like I've changed it all in core, but there's probably a bunch of contrib modules that assume line code is set on entities.
Oh,
So we could use a magic method that tests if someone's looking for line code and then call this function and not do anything else in that magic method.
oh, I see. Because the lang code property may or may not exist, and that's the same as before.
Yeah,
But the language callback is only going to get called if you're calling this method. Is that right?
that's right.
Yeah, I think that we should make a change record for that. Because we're not breaking the API, we're introducing a new API that's only going to work if your code is updated. And so I would recommend, I also have a particular uh, aversion, to put it mildly, against magic methods.
I know you do.
And so I would really prefer to make a change record and say, if you're calling lang code directly, you should switch it to the method. Um,
Yeah.
and just state that as please update your modules.
So how does that work though? If people upgrade their core, then there'd have to be a new release for their module, right?
Hmm. If you're wanting to get language callback working correctly,
Yeah.
or lang
Okay.
code callback. So that could take a while. Um, yeah.
All right. Well, Anthony is here now, so we
Yeah.
can
Hi,
yeah.
Anthony.
Hello.
Yeah, we're really having the rotating cast of characters here. Tim was in, now he's out. Luke showed up. Anthony's here. Um, but Anthony, I'm guessing that you may have joined for a specific reason, that you were summoned.
I was summoned, yes.
Yes, because
I
we
was the
wanted to,
representative who was available, so
yeah,
I jumped in, yeah.
yeah, we wanted to make an announcement. I was referring to it as I don't know, I can't remember the word. It's very highly
Monumental was the word.
monumental. Yeah, it's highly consequential. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and take it
Yeah,
away?
sure, yeah. So we just this week released the first full release of I think we're terming it Backdrop Commerce now. So it's the Commerce module for Backdrop. It's based off of the Drupal 7 version of the Commerce module. It has taken a long time to get to this point. A lot of work. A lot of this work was funded by a specific client of ours, Usenix. And they had a Drupal 7 site that they needed to move off of Drupal 7 because it was end of life. And so we moved them to Backdrop. They had Commerce as well. And so we decided, hey, let's go ahead and port this thing. So they supported a good chunk of that effort financially, and it has been launched with Usenix for I think a couple months now, a few months maybe even. But we were waiting a little bit to have some real world usage in place before we released a full 1.0 release of it. But it finally happened. We did it. Yay. So it's out there.
Yeah, a full applause for the release of Commerce module for Backdrop. That's really incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone at Giant Rabbit, that undertook that enormous effort. and your client Usenix for funding it. Those are that's a tremendous thing. I think that that probably notches up our top 100 modules ported to Backdrop by another percentage point. But it really should be more like 5 percentage points, like the amount of
There's a lot of code there.
code
Yeah.
that is there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Usenix has been such a great partner throughout all of this. Folks should go over to usenix.org. They do a lot of awesome work in computing systems and research around computing systems and conferences around that. And at Giant Rabbit, Anna Heath was a huge part of spearheading this effort with Usenix. And Eli Lisek, who shows up sometimes at the dev meeting here and will be here again at some point, played a huge role in getting this across the finish line. He did a bunch of the work in the latter half of development of the module, and then a bunch of fun automated testing fixes that had to happen at the very end there to get it all passing. So very appreciative of all their work here.
Just wonderful. Thank you so much, Anthony, for joining the meeting just to give us that update. And I'm really glad that, that it came from you guys.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Okay, let's see. We've got a couple more minutes, and I want to use it all up. So we're going to go back to issues. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't wasting Anthony's time. So
thank you so much. I am going to hop off because I have another meeting to head to in a few minutes, but I appreciate being able to come here and announce that. Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Okay, so two other issues that are making some headway. This issue that if you set up a formatted text field that uses a non-default allowed text format, like if basic is your default, but then you set test HTML as the only available text format, then every time you save a node, you end up with another text area, and you can't ever get rid of them. So it's an annoying problem. RGPiano made a contrib module to made a custom module called long text tribbles to get rid of the trailing long text fields. And looking at this issue, so we don't have a core solution yet, but I was looking at this and I really think that it comes down to the core APIs don't handle this situation right now, and it just needs to. Let's see. Oh, we don't have a link to it, but oh gosh, I can't remember off the top of my head. There's field default. This one maybe. No. I'm getting mixed up. So shoot, I don't have it off the top of my head. I should post a comment, but there's a function that says, oh, it is empty. That's what I'm thinking of. Field is empty. Here we go. Yeah, hook field is empty. And this is used by a bunch of modules, including text module. Field is empty. So, and the question here is like this hook specifically for text module when it's dealing with format says, is the format not equal to the default? And if so, then this is not considered empty. So it saves the default format. And if there's no way to fix this with the current API, my general line of thinking here is that we just need to add another parameter for is default. And if it is a default, then we do care about the format. And if it's not a default value, then we don't care what the format is. If the field value is empty, throw it away. We don't care about the format at that point. And so, yeah, we would need to change the API or expand the API to solve this one particular problem. But if that's what's necessary, then let's just do that. So that's what I think is the likely solution here. First, see if we can fix it in this, which I think we've already tried, but validate if it's not possible. And if it's not, then we just add a parameter for is default and return whether or not the value is empty based on the criteria of like, is this a default value being populated, or is it a value that's being populated from an entity form? So that's my thought on that one. I think that we can get that one unblocked and make it so that we're not using a custom module or contrib module to solve that problem. Okay, and then lastly, multi-file upload. One of our top 5 issues that's been open for over a decade. Doc Wellman and I have been, and Olaf have been kind of going around in a circle working to fix this issue. So I filed a pull request that updated Doc Wilmot's work. Olaf tested it again, found some more issues. But I think code review wise, I've looked at what Doc Wilmot has done. Any criticism that I had, I've updated it into my new pull request. But we still have about 4 tests failing that were failing in Doc Wilmot's version, and they're failing in mine as well. So I do feel like we're kind of closing in. Like, I think the code looks good at this juncture. And Doc Wellman has put in an enormous amount of effort. Olaf is testing it. It does work, which is great. We just need to get the tests passing, which I'm assuming is actually because we may have caused some regression around anonymous file handling, it looks like. So we're closing in on this one, and that would be just really exciting to see this one come to a conclusion.
Do you think does the code need to be fixed, or are the tests incorrect?
I'm not quite sure yet which one it is. But yeah, I'll just demonstrate this real quick because it is kind of exciting. So, admin. And I don't think we need a content type that actually has fields on it. So we'll add one to page, or I guess this is post, but that's fine. So if we want to say this is files, I mean, this works with images too. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to have upload files. I'm not gonna do this right now. Well, anyway, it makes it so that when you add files to the node form, you can just select multiple files now, and it makes all of the files all at once. It also updates this form, the manage files form. So right here where you can add upload files also allows multiple file upload here, which is great. So very useful capabilities in both places. All right, let's see, we're all out of time. And Zoom just gave me some trouble here. So I'm gonna have to ask people, are you guys all still there?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Are you by chance a co-host, Tim?
Oh, I think I was. I left and came back, and I'm not. So
Okay. All right. We're gonna have the awkward meeting end again because I have to leave and then come back to end the broadcast. So hang tight. I'll be back. Okay. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining this week, and we'll see you next week. Thank you so much. Oh, except I can't end the broadcast here either. Oh boy. Oh, Zoom. 1 second.